Hi everybody, I'm Marty Runick from Top Gun PDR Training. Over the next couple of years, I'm going to be introducing some tools that I think are an improvement over your standard issue PDR tool. They're going to be probably about a couple dozen coming out. And one of the first ones I wanted to introduce was what I feel is an improvement over your standard issue door hook, adjustable handle door hook. Your standard door hook, adjustable handle, that has a straight shaft in your heel and your tip. This is a standard 4-inch heel. Now the problem with this design is you got your curved window over here and you're leveling off of a curved window, not a straight window. Problem with that is, as you're pushing, if you're not always aware of where your leverage is, there's a natural tendency for your leverage to run up the tool shaft, your leverage point to run up the shaft, the more pressure you put on the tool. So the more pressure you put on, the further your leverage goes from your heel, and that's where it needs to stay. Your leverage really does need to be right at that heel. If it isn't, if it creeps up, you're going to have to put a lot more force to take a dent out. All right. Now, I think I've come up with a solution to that. It's been working pretty good. I've tested it with quite a few techs, and they all seem to like it. This tool here has a small bend in it, so your curved glass is here, small bend, and you notice that leverage bump right there. Well, these two changes make a pretty big difference in how this tool works. This curved shaft, as you're twisting, forces the shaft away from your curved window, and at the same time forces it to stay at that leverage bump. Okay, so the two kind of work together, and now it's pretty much impossible for your leverage point to vary off of that leverage bump, which means you get a lot better tool control. I want to give you a visual demonstration of the benefits of this tool. We're going to start by using a standard door hook. Down our door panel, I'm going to show you the view from the back of the panel with no window guard, so you'll be able to see what's actually going on. We're looking from the back of the panel now with no window guard being used, so you can see what's going on. We're pushing now with the standard tool. You'll notice that the leverage is nowhere near that glass. In fact, I can easily put a finger between there, and with no pressure, I can almost get 2 fingers. There's nowhere, the leverage is nowhere near there as I'm pushing. In fact, the leverage point as I'm pushing is clear all the way, all past that. So I'm leveraging here. That heel is not in contact with the glass at all. Okay, nowhere near. Now, the distance between there and here, that's your leveraging distance. That's not going to make it, fellas. You got very unstable leverage there. Let's get another view at this while we're pushing. We're looking down the window door gap right now, near where our window wedge is. You notice how the leverage point is nowhere near the heel of that tool, guys. Now let's use the leverage easy tool. Stick it down the door. And the first thing you notice is the leverage point is right on the glass, not the shaft, the leverage point. Of course, there would be a window guard here, of course. All that is curved, so there's no leverage from here to here. It's only at that spot. So you can have a much more solid leveraging position from there. Now let's see what the leverage easy tool looks like when we're looking down the window gap where the window edge is. You can see it leverage is right on the leverage bump, not on the shaft at all. Now I'm having Blehm make this tool. I think it's an improvement, his adjustable handle, over the one that I showed you how to make in that other video. The reason is it's a much thinner adjustable handle. It uses the same high strength steel. It's not the cheaper zinc ones. This is the high quality ones. A lot of tool companies out there using the zinc handles. These are solid high grade steel. Of course, adjustable handle, just pick it up and adjust it like that. These also come with a thumb or finger adjustable point. We can just do it on the fly. So the other one you have to kind of pull it apart. This one you just simply push and you're down. No need to take the tool out of the door, nothing. Very easy to use. It's a little bit more expensive than your standard issue one, but you have to decide what's more important to you. Now another thing, this tool is patent pending. Okay, every tool has weaknesses. This one does too. We're going to tell you about them. If you're going deep down a door, especially on glasses that have that curved edge at the bottom of laminated glass, that's a very weak area. You'll bust those with a regular tool. Well, same thing will happen with this one. That leverage bump hit the edge of that glass. You could, potentially crack your glass there. That's why I recommend, no matter what kind of tool you're using, use an extra long window guard to get down that area just to make sure it's protected. Another problem that can happen sometimes if you put this tool down there and it feels like your leverage is turned to mush, stick your light down there between the gap and you'll almost always notice the window isn't supported by the guide and it's just kind of flapping in the breeze there. And that's where your leverage problem is coming from. And if you think, well, how come it didn't happen to my old tool? Well, remember, your old tool is leveraging all the way up there. This one's leveraging right where your tool tip is. So you have to take that into account. Here's what I'm talking about, fellas. See the edge of that glass? It's not supported by a window channel. You don't see this all the time, but it does happen. And with a standard door tool, you're not leveraging off the hook, at the heel rather, you're leveraging about halfway up that shaft. And what happens is, as you're leveraging halfway up that shaft, you can see the heel of your tool there isn't even close to your glass. Well, it makes it seem like you have a little bit better leverage, but you really don't. Now here's that same panel with the Leverage Easy tool, and because your leverage is so close to the edge, you can see it's moving the entire edge, and it makes it seem like the leverage isn't very good. Well, that's one of those instances where a standard door tool, even though the leverage wouldn't be on the heel, would probably be a little bit better in this case. Like I said, you don't see this all the time, but there are some windows out there that aren't supported in this area, and it can be a problem for any tool. And of course, it goes without saying, you'd always use a metal window guard in an area like this. Now, we do have another tool coming out shortly that will lock windows like this in place. So no matter what kind of tool you use, Leverage Easy or standard tool, that window is locked in place no matter what you do. One of the places where this tool might not have an advantage is when you're forward of your front window guide channel, because this tool, if you get right to the edge, could potentially come off that and leverage right on that area. So this might be one of those areas where your standard door hook you still want to use. And also when you're up really close to the top of the gap, top of the window, you'll find that this tool is, because the standard door tool will still leverage off your window when you're this close to the top. So you won't notice much of a difference between either tool in this area. But once you get further down, that's where this tool really starts taking over, and you'll notice that most people notice a definite difference as you're going down the door like that. Okay, so this tool is made pretty much for this area, leveraging off the glass in your door, like I said. Anyway, I really do believe this is a improvement over your standard design. Like I said, it's not going to make a huge difference. You're not going to go, oh my gosh, can't do without this. You'll notice about 20% less tiredness in or numbness in your hand and your wrist using this tool over the end of the day. Well, another thing I like doing is putting a Schwinn bicycle grip on the end of this handle. I think I mentioned in the other video, I really like this in hot weather. Your hand actually sticks to it harder when it's sweating than when it's dry. And possible to slip off, you don't have to grip it as hard. That means your wrist isn't getting as tired because you're trying to squeeze it so hard. You just barely keep your hand on it and twist it.